Yeah. So anyways, welcome everybody. It's Sue Greenwald with Awakened Stories here with the real and original John Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you today?
I am doing good. I could be better, but it could be worse. But we're here sharing the story, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hindered, blocked, shadow banned,
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
I don't want the truth out.
It's true. So we just had a huge connection problem. Like it took me 30 minutes to log into the Zoom for this call. And while I was waiting for the computer to work, I opened my cupboard door and a whole bunch of glass fell out and shattered all over the kitchen, which
Oh,
is, like that logically shouldn't and couldn't have happened. But anyway, here we are now. And then you got kicked off. So
yeah. I was waiting. And I got your message on the phone that said you were having problems. And while I was waiting, my computer just totally shut off. And
yeah.
then when I rebooted it, it put me on a Wi-Fi that doesn't have enough signal strength to do our video, so I
Yeah.
had to redo that and get us plugged back in. But hey, we're here sharing the truth, sharing the story. They might kick us while we're down, but we keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they're doing. They give us connection problems and all sorts of things. Like when I do videos with my daughter lately, they will interrupt our video like 4 or 5 times and kick us off. And there's no logical reason for it. They just don't want the information out there because the truth
Oh,
is coming out.
I was just doing a live on YouTube, my YouTube channel at John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. Please subscribe to my channel. But I was doing a live on there. Hindered last week. We noticed all these fake accounts popping up on TikTok. They have my same username, and it's like, how could they make an account with the same username? And then there's like five we noticed, so there could be more. But I had right about 45,000 followers on my TikTok, and they just took it down. Hundreds of videos on TikTok, and with them taking my real account down, they left the fake account up on TikTok. So if you were a follower of mine on TikTok at John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., I started a new one. I only have a couple followers, but don't fall for their scams, please, people. John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. is no longer. All the other accounts of me on there that say John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. are scams. I didn't know if it was to help or hinder me at the beginning when I noticed all these accounts popping up, but now I know it was to hinder me because they planned on getting rid of me. Kind of the whole scenario of my lifetime with this identity theft, how it works. It's huge right here. Stolen identity.
Right.
Huge.
Right. So what was happening is there were these large TikTok accounts, and then they would contact the viewers and ask for money, and they would sometimes reference people from your account. All right, so the people like they sent several of my friends something they referenced King Smarty in there, and of course it was well written, so they thought that it might be legit, and they sent it to me, which is how I found out. So don't fall for that, as John is not asking you directly for anything. Although, if you do donate, now, one of the things I didn't mention the other day, here's his book. If you do donate to John, and part of it he uses for his living expenses, but he's been buying these books to hand out. He has to pay for the books. So that's what I've been doing on my end is, of course, I share the videos like crazy, but my library ordered the book. I'm sharing it around. I'm writing reviews, things like that, just trying to get the story out there. This is one of the biggest stories ever. Like we are breaking the story out there. It has to get out to everybody. So your help is really appreciated.
And with that said, Sue, I have had donations here this past week. Awesome. Somebody sent me a book on my mother, Jackie Kennedy. I didn't have that book. Wonderful to have a book of my mom. Um, one of King Smarty's supporters sent me a check, which is way cool. Someone sent me a big package full of magazines of myself on the cover of Time. I really wanted one. I couldn't afford to buy it on eBay. It's of me doing the salute. It was in that package. I still haven't had time to look at them. I haven't had time to say thank you to all these wonderful supporters that have done that with all my heart. I got that package with those books and I had tears because I wanted that magazine for a long, long time. But a big, big heartfelt thank you to these people. It's so very, very awesome. I've just been too busy to say thank you. So I'm saying thank you now.
That's amazing. Well, and I know it helps. So you're still planning your ride across the country to put your book on your father's grave. And people have been asking when and all the particulars. And I just said, when that's officially planned, we'll let them know where to be. Okay.
Yeah. I need a platform. I really do, where I can announce it. I'm doing this to make a big photo op, and I'm not lying. I want the big photo op. The Kennedy family, my father, my mother, my sister, me, all the photos, all the videos. There's thousands of them. It was one big photo op. I want to share the truth. I want to make this a photo op when I go to Arlington. The regime media we have now doesn't want my story out. Well, we can do that by me going to Arlington. I really, really wanted to do it the 4th of July, but with them taking me down, hindering me, it's just hindering me for a little while. I'm still planning on it, and the the death of my son and everything. I went down to the city yesterday. I was on my way to the funeral home. I wanted to get it taken care of, and on the way down there, I called them, and they're like, "Well, we're not ready for you to do sign papers or whatever they wanted me to do." It's like they'll call me, don't call us. Um, God, I miss my son. Um, I posted a photo. This is how the haters are. I posted a photo. My son took a selfie holding my book. He has a little rabbit hat on. The haters were like, "Oh, you're trying to sell your book even with your son's death." You're damn right I am. With my son's death, I'm trying to sell my book. I had this one guy I do business with the other day. He said, "Thank you, Sue." This guy said, "Do you think your son's death had anything to do with this book and the retaliation for you putting this book out there?" And I said, "That's the first fucking thing that came to my mind was that." So I'm not giving up. I'm sharing my story. This book needs to be read by all America. And I'll do what it takes. I'm putting my life on the line. Um, it's huge. It needs to be number one. This book needs to be number one.
Right.
So you haters can go jump off a bridge for all I care. I'm doing this for the American people, for this world, to make it a better place. But I'm not a politician. It has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with the corrupt government that is in politics. Anyway, I'm sorry. I get aggravated.
Well, no. This affects everybody. So let's say somebody hears this story and they're like, oh, like they'll say, oh, it's awful, but it doesn't affect me. It affects every one of us worldwide, not just the US. This corruption affects us financially. It affects our health, our longevity, our freedom. Everything we do is being controlled and organized, and not in a good way. So it's important for everyone here to share the story, show people how there is corruption in the government, like, and his story is representative. That's just one person. And look how that story is rippled out to every one of us.
And this is how it affects each and every one of you viewers. My father, the president of the United States, assassinated. You don't know the rest of the story. All the other assassinations covered up by this government. But my father wrote a quote in my book. There is a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. That's how it affects you. You are part of that plot. You are enslaved and don't even know it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Our media, your freedom of speech, what you are programmed to believe. You are programmed to believe your vote matters. It doesn't matter. You are so programmed to go with their program We are slaves. We need to break those chains and fix our government. It's in the Constitution, but it's right there. That's how you're involved. They have a plan to make us slaves, and their plan is finished. We are slaves to this government. We have all been lied to, and we're believing the lies, people. It's time to wake up. It really is.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, so this affects everyone. All right. It's not time to stick our hand in the heads in the sands. It's time to get like, all right, so what can we do? First, we have to educate ourselves. We educate our friends and we notice what's happening out there. Well, I've been noticing for about 20 years, like everything seems inverted. It seems wrong. Like it doesn't seem even logical the way things work governmentally, the health system, the education system. And it's not getting better and better and better. We have the resources to make everything better, but we don't. Well, why is that? Because they don't care. They want to do things as cheaply as possible to make us, be quiet and subservient and just do whatever is required of us. So we need to
Duke,
get the word out.
can you take over for a second? I got to make a quick break.
Certainly can.
Hey.
And a lot of times we were always saying how much better you look than you did our first couple of videos. And we were promoting King Smarty's PTSD charm that you wear and some of the other products. So we always are excited about that. But last time we had talked, we were going to talk about like celebrity kids who have gone unacknowledged. All right. So that seems like a topic that I'm coming across a lot. I don't know if you want to talk about that still, but it seems like there's a lot of politicians and celebrities that have kids that they're not aware of or they are aware of and they turn their back on them. And then someone that knows that these kids are celebrity, all right, use them for nefarious purposes. And that seems like it's coming out more and more to me.
Hollywood is such a big part of the crime ring of our
Yeah.
government. It goes all the way to Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan being in Hollywood, and even Donald Trump being in Hollywood. It's a huge part. I was such a big Hollywood actor when I was young, and the power that Hollywood has, they totally erased me, given my identity, stolen identity to another childhood actor. It's huge what the power they have in Hollywood. It is huge. The Hollywood stars, many of them I met aren't with us anymore. Many are.
Right.
It's all a controlled ring. It's
Yeah.
huge.
And especially, when you add the MK mulch ultra factor, okay, that people are controlled, they're made to do things, sometimes to put them in compromising positions, but they're made to do things or they do things and they think they're doing different things. It's pretty scary, right? And so these actors
It
or
is.
politicians have the kids, they either don't know about them or the kids are shunned, but they're usually used for nefarious purposes.
Well, MK Ultra is such a huge, huge, mind-blowing tool run by organized crime. Um, they're masters at it. For people that don't know what MK Ultra is, it's a deep hypnosis. Just like if you want to quit smoking, lose weight, or whatever, you go to a hypnotherapist, and they can help. It works. It really works. MK Ultra, though, you put somebody under MK Ultra, they don't remember when they come out of it. It's a huge tool. You can get people to do anything on MK Ultra. I'm telling you
Right.
anything, and if your handler that is giving you MK Ultra does it right, um, he can make you take your own life, and like I said, they can make you do
Right.
anything. It's huge, and it's being done to children in Hollywood. Um, it's a very powerful weapon. It needs to come out and be more recognized.
Right.
I'm a victim of it. My son was a victim of it. Um, I didn't know how to help my son. He kept coming to me, problem after problem. Um, it messed up his mind. The child trafficking. I was screaming when he was, young. Many attempts on my life. I went to the FBI to try to help, but he was screaming for help his whole life. And that's because he is a victim. He was a victim of child trafficking and MK Ultra.
Right.
And yeah, um,
Mm.
God bless him.
So he was taken away from you for a few years, or, when he was a little child, and that he didn't have a good upbringing that way. Let's put it that way. He was drugged, tortured probably as well, and witnessed to probably some nefarious activity as well, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, crazy. I was put, me, John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. was put with the Quigley family. When he was born, they did everything to take my rights away as a father. So I could not spend my life with him, all the way from court orders and every other thing. And then when he became older, um, I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time. I spent the last 8 years with him, and he still would contact the Quigleys. And so I'm trying to help him, do everything for him. And he was still in contact with Quigley saying, your father's nothing but a drug addict, a derelict. All he cares about is money. He doesn't care about you. So, he was getting it, to come against me while I was there helping him. Um, it's sad, it really is.
Yeah.
But I'm sharing the truth of it. And all that messed him up. He would come to me for help. And I don't, he had mental illness from all that, but he was shouting out for help, and I didn't know. I consider myself an expert on MK Ultra. I've been MK Ultra, um, being who I am. I've been taken to many crime scenes and planned crimes and many many things under MK Ultra, and I feel I'm an expert, but I don't know how to help somebody that has been a victim. I mean, I do a little, I can give them a little by stay busy, do lots of yard work and just keep your mind busy and try not to dwell on it. And if you get to the point where you just get so frustrated, say it's hey, it's real. It's real. I did one thing all the time when I thought I was gonna go crazy, out of my mind crazy, I'd say, I am at peace with my thoughts, my deeds. I am happy. I am healthy. And I have a peace of mind. And I would repeat that over and over and over again to sink it in my head. And I would say, hey, it's not anything I have done. Why are all these attempts on my life? Why is this being done? And it was because I'm John Kennedy. It has nothing about what I have done. It's what I know, what I could share to the world. And I'm sharing it. And when I get kicked in the balls and hindered and life just becomes too much, it makes me want to share even more and never give up, not to my last breath. And with that said, you people that are listening, with all my heart, thank you. Let's get this out to the world because
Right.
um, it affects us all, each and every one of us.
Yeah. It ripples out. So what's happened to you? All right, maybe the same experience hasn't happened to me, but the repercussions from all that ripple out to all of us. We have to stop this. And you're not the only one it's happened to, of course. It's your story is unique, but there's lots of other people out there that have had similar experiences, and we don't know it.
Oh,
We would
many,
we'd go about our lives never knowing what was happening unless you stepped forward and wrote the book, right?
so many people, so many families affected, the musicians, the
Yeah.
Hollywood. It's huge what organized crime has done to these people. It really, really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
We're gonna do the best we can, keep marching forward and fix it for everybody.
Right. Yeah. And it's so like, there's lots of different philosophies in how you solve a problem, but in my opinion, the first step is to define the problem. So you're exposing the problem so we understand it. All right. So that's the first step. People have got to understand what's happening out there. It's real. And that's, I think, the phase we're at, but then it has to be corrected. Now, we like to think that our voting system is above board, that what we've been taught is true, but you saw what happened. And if you've watched politics for the past 20 years and you look at what's happening, you're like, something doesn't seem right. So we know that this is not, our system does not work. Both political parties are, what do they say? Different wings of the same bird. All right. They're both controlled, they're both corrupt. They don't really care about you, the common person. Look around society now and see if you feel cared about. I don't think many of you do. I think the average person feels very stressed right now in their lives, financially, like in every system, they are getting pressure. The cost of everything is going up. The time to do things, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So we have to take back control of our lives and our planet in a peaceful way. I'm not talking about revolution, but education is a big thing.
Yeah, they are such a huge ring, they are Goliath. They are the billionaires. They are we're not invited to their party, people. They have one big organization of crime, and we're not invited to their party because they want our money. They want to keep taking our money. They want to keep us in chains. They want to spend our money, our tax money, for what they want, not what the American people want.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the and the little guys, the homeless, they're looking up to these billionaires in their suits, and they're like, he's gonna help us. He's gonna change things. Ain't happening. Ain't
Yeah.
happening. You got to change things for yourself. It ain't happening. Looking to somebody that's a billionaire wearing a suit to change things for you.
Right.
We got to organize and fix and expose them. And I'm hoping everybody shares my story and uses me as an example on how they cover up their crimes,
Yeah.
how they don't want to expose the truth. If they can do this to the son of a president, the Prince of Camelot, right before your very eyes, thousands of photos, thousands of videos of me, all the way up to the age of 10, and then I'm kidnapped. I'm replaced by our very own government. Nobody even caught it. All of a sudden, Mr. Pretty Boy pops up. Oh, they love beauty. They love putting their bloodlines in, but it's huge. The number of people that have been replaced is huge. It is organized. They replace people. They steal everything they got. They become powerful in our government, and we're not invited to their party. But I don't want to be invited to that kind of party. I want to expose them for what they're doing, and
Right.
that's truthfully what they're doing. And it's so huge.
Yeah. And you can see what they're doing, how they're replacing people. So like the royal families, Hall of Hollywood, people are they're making excuses. They've either lost weight, they've gained weight, or they've been sick. And they come back looking totally different. And like in some cases they don't even speak. Oh, they lost the ability to speak. Well, that's because they probably don't speak English. So, you know what I mean? They're getting doubles in there. They're using CGI. A lot of the photos they use in the magazines are old. You know what I mean? Masks are
Yeah,
really
all
good.
the photos of John coming back to life to save the world with Donald Trump,
Yeah.
they're all fake. They're all age progression photos. Um, I can't stress it though.
Yeah.
Identity theft, identity theft, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge what they've done.
Yeah, so everyone's identity is, so we've talked in the past 2 or 3 videos about how organized crime goes into someone with resources, and you use the example of a rancher and then maybe a business owner. They go in, they basically replace them. They take all of their assets and they do whatever they need with it, or power and control. So it's, you know, the general public has no knowledge that this has been being done for years and years and years. That's how these corporations are, they have so many resources, you know what I mean? Like the big guys that are playing these games are getting everything for basically free, where we have to work our way up the ladder. If you're a small business owner, it's almost guaranteed you'll never be a huge success unless you play the dirty game, you know? So,
Yeah, a lot
yeah.
of them that are playing the dirty game are placed there because they know they play the dirty game.
Yeah, yeah. And of
It's
course, they're promised, and I've talked to people, you know, we've done some previous interviews where they've talked about have been promised if they just do this one thing, you know, or they just appear here, do whatever. And when they say no, their career is ruined, all right? Or if they say yes, then they're boosted to stardom, except they're no longer free. And it's a very heavy price that they're paying, you know?
they are so much in control. Um, all the social media platforms, what they can do with their supercomputers,
Yes.
with stealing identity theft. Everything is put in these supercomputers. They know, they know the scammers, the people asking for money. If you ask somebody for money, they pick up on it. They're supercomputers. Um, what brought this to my mind is I was looking at my son's message. I get scammed on Facebook. Facebook is totally for the hackers. It is totally hacked. I've got people on there. I got a messenger. Everybody I try to get to know ask me for money, hit me up, show me their nude pictures for money, all this nonsense. My son was mentally disabled. I was looking at his phone, his last comments on his phone before he passed away. He was being asked for his fucking bank information from scammers telling him they loved him. Was his last comments from these hackers on Facebook. You don't think our government knows about all these hackers doing their thing? Of course they do. His last comment before he ended his life was he said, I'm falling on my phone. That's why I didn't. That's why he didn't message this hacker back. He said he was falling on his phone. His next message, his very last message was, the doctors are coming to get me to take me to the store so I can spend my last $8 on a pack of smokes. He never made a comment after that. My son, when he would get a pack of smokes, he would chain smoke it up. He would. If I bought him a pack of smokes, he would sit there. Cigarette lasts about 10 minutes, but he would smoke that whole pack until it was gone. When I looked, he had a half a pack of cigarettes left. So I know 10 cigarettes is what, an hour and 40 minutes. So after the doctors took him to buy a pack of cigarettes, he came home and he died an hour and 45 minutes later. But why wasn't anything done? The doctors came and picked him up, took him to the store. Why didn't they notice his air conditioner wasn't working? Why didn't they say, plug these fans in? Anyway, I got a lot on my mind. I'm just sharing. The
Yeah.
scams are huge,
Yeah, they're
and
huge.
our government can do something about it, and they don't, because their supercomputers tell them, they're telling the FBI where I'm sitting in my seat right now for me and you being on here. Why can't they do anything about all these scammers getting bank account information, stealing identities? Identity theft happens every 3 seconds in this country, every 3 seconds. You don't think that could be fixed in an hour with these supercomputers? Of course it could. They don't want it fixed because they're scamming and they're a part of it.
Right, right, right. Okay. So I am sorry for your loss. It had, I know it was unexpected. You know, you went over there and it was not it's never happy anyway. So just one more thing that you've had to endure, you know.
A father should never have to clean up his son after he sat in a hot house for a day and a half, ever.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So,
reality. My book's still open. That's just part of the next chapter.
right, right. And that was one question I got, is if you would be writing a second book. You had mentioned that
I
briefly.
I sure hope so. I hope Jackie Goldman has it in the works now. I really, really do.
Yeah,
She did an amazing job helping me with this one. Hopefully we can get it out to the world. I
right,
hope she's working on a second one. I hope she's watching our interview right now, taking notes. She's awesome. I could not have done it without her coming to me saying, "I'll help you."
right.
Because she came to me and I said, "I've tried to write a book for years, and the torture and the abuse I went through,
Yeah,
I would put it all down and couldn't make sense of it to put it in a page, let alone a book." She did a very wonderful, awesome, awesome job.
right,
It's just a wake up, though. It's just a wake up to the world of
right.
what we are facing, the enemies we have within our own government. It's just a
Yeah,
wake up, but it's the truthful wake up.
yeah,
It needs to be out to every American. It really does.
right.
If we have to give it away, share it, or whatever we have to do to wake this country up, we need
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. Your father was so well loved, and he would have done such big things without hindrance, blockages, and interferences and corruption. You know, of course, there was a lot of corruption in the government at that time. And if you know the history of the US government, you know, Operation Paperclip, right? We bring in all the, you know, the German scientists to work on our rocket program and all the others, you know, and they just infiltrated. But the government was pretty much corrupt before that. So it just has expanded very quickly in the past 100 years, you know. So anyway,
They're the
um,
best of the best at what they do. That's what we're
yeah,
up against, the
they're
best of the best.
they're very organized, and I'll give them that. Like, you know, we are going about our lives just thinking everything's the way we're taught. And then we start to, you know, learn that it doesn't look like we think it should. This happened, that happened, this injustice happened. It doesn't seem real. And of course, we learn as we watch what's going on out there. But they're very organized. They have meetings, they have plans. Like you said in your book, they plan 20, 30 years in advance what's going to happen, who's going to go in what position, what they're going to do. Genius.
I'm a personal witness. They look for the best of the best to work for them.
Yeah, yeah,
They search out whether it's, testing in our public schools, to the IQ test, and they find the
mm,
best of the best at what they do, whether they're yeah, that one. But they find out the best of the best they can get, and then they use those people for
yeah,
their skills.
yeah.
And that's what we're up against. We're up against the best of the best, but they're few, and we are many. So we
Right.
got a hard job to do. But one more break, Sue.
All right. I wanted to ask a question, and I'm sorry if it's painful, but I wanted to ask the reason why you thought you were forced to marry Lisa way back when. You knew she was pregnant, yet, and you married her, and again, you kind of went along with it. But like, what do you think the strategy was? I guess is my question. Why did they want you to marry her? Like, was there protection there? Like, give
No,
us,
the whole thing is they knew who I was.
of course.
It's blood in, blood out. Lisa's grandfather was connected to John Gotti. He was connected to the Hollywood ring. They wanted me to marry her, so she could have a child. It's blood in, blood out. They wanted their blood in with that child, and my blood out, taken away. They do that with their children, so they can have wealth. So their secret satanic family can spread out and take the world over. That's what it's all about. It's all about the satanic, the secret cults taking over the world.
Yeah,
It's that simple. And they have been doing it with my family, my mother's side of the family, my father's side of the family. It's all about the power. It's all about the devil. You know, everybody knows the Bible. The devil comes to kill, steal, destroy. He's a deceiver. The devil is a deceiver. Well, guess what, people? You've been all deceived, and the devil's winning. And we need to expose the devil. We really, really do.
yeah,
I'm putting it out there. I'm using examples. Um, so many examples, but they plan things. They got their books. They sit at a table and they say, we're going to take this person out. This person's got billions of dollars. And that's the start of it. And the
yeah,
end of it is that person ends up dead. They put someone in their shoes and they take it all. And that's,
yeah,
in short, that's how they're doing it. And
yeah,
they've been doing it and they keep doing it. Um, who, who's all part of this secret society? Um, it's huge, but it's been going on. Use me as an example, people. The son of a president, what they did, how they replaced me, how they put their bloodline in, how they replaced my sister, how they replaced my mother. They put their bloodline in place. They become wealthy. They become rich. They become powerful. And that's exactly how they've been doing it all the way to the top. They place these people to be presidents. The United States of America is the big prize. If you control the United States government, you control everything. The money will flow to you. The satanic cult, this organized crime, whatever you want to call it, they've done their work. And that's what we are up against
right.
as the citizens. Um, we need, we can't just rely on God. We got to
Right.
walk with God to take care of business and expose them for what they really are.
Right, right. They are being exposed, all right? They are, I think it's being quietly done. And I think part of the last solution we need is to have the mainstream media uncorrupted. All right, so right now we know that they always have an agenda with whatever story they tell us. There's always a bigger picture that we don't know. But wouldn't it be amazing if we got truthful news? That would be so
Oh, wouldn't it?
helpful. And that is
They
a big part of the problem, you know?
they put on the news what they want our heads full of.
Yeah,
They'll pick out a story. There could be hundreds, thousands of more stories,
yeah,
more important. News time costs money. It costs a lot of money, but they take one story and then they put it all over all the channels
yeah, yeah,
of what they want you to know. Um, the Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson story is a huge example. Huge. And I personally know it was all bullshit. I was there. Um, I knew Scott Peterson's mistress when she was just a child. That's how they plan things. Scott Peterson's mistress, I worked for her father. I met Scott Peterson in San Diego. Put two and two together. John Kennedy Jr. is there. What did they do with that story about him killing his wife for his mistress? I'm telling you right now, this story was put in place years and years in advance. And then John Kennedy Jr. knows the whole little crime ring, but they put that story on Fox News for months. They put it on CNN for months. They put it on ABC, CBS. All the news media had Scott and Lacey Peterson. Scott Peterson killed his pregnant wife on all the news channels. And what else did you learn? Nothing but Scott Peterson killed his wife, and it was all bullshit, all
right.
pre-planned years in advance. That's
Yeah.
what we're dealing with.
A lot of these big overhyped news stories, like let's just say the OJ story. So for those of you that were alive back then, it was a huge story, huge shock to the world. And they had the court case on TV. The world just sat. No, I didn't because I don't really watch TV, period. But the world sat and watched that court case, like, and just sat at the TV. it was a distraction. That wasn't even a real story. So they made up another false flag event to distract the people from what's really going on. And it works so beautifully, right?
I was sitting in LA at a warehouse in a truck. I was a truck driver at the time. Um, when OJ drove by with all the cops behind him, I was sitting there right next to the freeway,
Oh, you were?
and it was like OJ was part of their family. They built OJ up. They showed him on all the sports, running in for the touchdown. They built OJ up. OJ was part of their crime ring. That's how they do it, whether you're sports, music industry, Hollywood, their little clique.
Yeah,
And what happened, I don't have all the answers, but he must have messed up being part of their clique and didn't want to pay up because it's always about money if you have to ask why.
yeah.
But huge,
Yeah,
you know.
he was actually, so of course he's a sports figure, but he was doing commercials, and I think then he started doing movies.
Yeah, he would do the Avis commercials running through the airport, um, jumping over cars or whatever
Yeah,
to
and he
get
did
to
like a
his.
luggage commercial or a Timex or a Rolex or whatever. But I was in England shortly thereafter watching or visiting a friend, and she took me by this property. It was like a castle-like home. Okay, a mini castle, like literally. She said, that's OJ's house. And I looked at her, I'm like, what? How can he have a house? But see, privilege. All right. The laws for them don't apply to the laws for us. They were part of the plan. We were bamboozled, we were fooled, we were tricked into watching something that wasn't even true. So that'll be coming out too. Just another interesting little blip in our history that we can't forget. Yeah. Interesting stuff though, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah. Just like 9/11. And no, I'm not putting 9/11 down. That was a horrible thing that happened. People died. But they're not telling us the truth, of course, about what happened, who did it, or even the death count. The death count is way bigger than they're telling us. And of course, how can we all get together and compare? There's no way. So the stories are never what we're taught. But at first we
Yeah,
get,
it's all a movie. It's all a
it
movie.
is all a movie. Yeah.
All the way to 9/11. And
Yeah. So
it's
many.
sad though. It's sad what these criminals do and get away with.
Yeah.
Do things, start a war, make more money, more oil, big business, fly their jets around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have to, conserve everything. We're very careful, and they're blaming us for ruining the planet with our emissions when they're flying private jets around, right? So it doesn't even make sense. So, well, anything else you
I'd
want
be happy with a horse.
to? Well, you want the simple life, I think. After all that you've gone through, I think you just want basically to live in peace, is my assumption. You just want to live unmolested, you know?
Yeah, I've always wanted that. Just a peace of mind. Just
Yeah.
I don't need the wealth. I just need the happiness.
Yeah. And you don't need wealth, but you need to, you are the son of a president and your family fortune was taken from you.
Oh,
But it would be nice to have, I won't say a little comfort, just a little comfort. That's all you're asking.
hey,
Yeah.
my Harley and a fishing pole. Something
Yeah.
nice that stays warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Robin by my side, little white picket fence. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for fame. Um, I would love, when somebody steals something from you and rubs it in your face, and you've had to live in poverty. Yeah, I would like to have a little more luxuries than I've had my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Um, my main thing is getting this story out.
Yeah.
Um, it means the whole world to me, um, to save this country. So many people have died. So many people have done so much to try to make this a great country, and far as I'm concerned, we've lost it. We have lost what everybody's fought for. It now belongs to the criminals and the criminal organization. Maybe it always has, but I know right now it's really bad.
Yeah. It's very sad that the young men that have joined our military and died, they've gone in for the most part feeling like they're helping the country. They're patriotic. They have love for their country and their way of life, and they're taught. They're manipulated, they're tricked, and then they lose their life. It's such a huge injustice, you know?
Yeah, this country needs to wake up. I was thinking of
Yeah,
that earlier.
yeah,
I think about it all the time, though. The position for president of the United States is a commander in chief job to protect us, to run our militaries, to tell the general of the army, the navy, to tell these generals what they are going to do, not an ass clown figurehead placed by our shadow government to look stupid and look like a fucking idiot in front of a podium. We need to wake up because that's what we've been allowing our shadow government to place these
right.
puppets in place. We need somebody that cares about this country that's not a puppet.
Yep, yep. Agreed, agreed. It's actually so ridiculous. Like, I don't even know who could believe this is a real thing. It's
I, I
ridiculous.
can't I can't believe these other countries that see this happening, looking at the great nation of America, thinking we are a fucking joke. The
Right.
United States of America is a fucking joke. And that's exactly what I'm thinking when I see this going on. And they're thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
We all need to unite. We need to make this country a great country again, put some people in government where they can be respected and looked up to. And that ain't nowhere near what's going on.
right.
You see these people going like this, dancing around, saying, I'm gonna make things freaking great for you." No, we need somebody to be standing there proud, um, with the responsibilities to be
Right,
protecting us
right,
and making things better for us.
right. Yeah, I agree with that. So it's actually like when you can take a step back from the emotion of it and just watch what's going on out there. Like in my head, I'm like, how could anyone believe this is real? It's fun to watch. But the sad thing is we have to live through it, but it is fun, isn't it? Yeah. Now we just got a question about DNA results, and I'm going to say it for the billionth time. What makes you think that the DNA results can't be corrupted? I don't think you're gonna
Here,
get accurate results until,
let's do this DNA thing for the hundredth millionth
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay, Robin started. I don't know what I did with it now. Oh, here it is. My office consists of my couch with shit thrown on it. Um, we first wanted, I've taken 5 DNA tests, 5, not one. It's not like I'm not denying I will take DNA. People say, well, why won't you just freaking take a DNA test and prove to the world? Okay. So I took one. I showed the results. I posted the results. But it's not as easy as people think that you can just take a blood test, show your blood type, and that'll prove who you are. It's complicated. You got to have scientists testing your father and mother's DNA. See that little hair sample? It
Yeah.
says historic DNA. That's my father. That's my mother. First, we purchased this with Robin, purchased it with her own money. Then we started a GoFundMe. This was after 4 DNA tests. We purchased more DNA, like this DNA of my mother. The only problem is, and this DNA is not cheap, it's actual hair samples. But who is this from? Is it from my mother? Is it from her replacement? I saw my mother die in 75 being shot. The whole world doesn't know it. So whose DNA do I have in my hand? I don't know. Why should I spend thousands of dollars testing it for no reason?
Right.
So we talked to the scientist. We said, can we send you this DNA and pay you? Well, there's like $2,000 for this test, $2,000 for this test for each person for one sample. But he said, that ain't enough. Scientist said, what you bought ain't enough. We need a lock of hair to test. So what did Robin do? She bought a lock of hair. She bought a lock of hair from the same people that sent it into space. You know, it's been all over. They sent John Kennedy DNA into outer space, right? So hey, how could we go wrong by purchasing the same DNA from the same person? So we did, and we spent thousands of dollars. I kept it secret. I was getting all these DNA comments over and over again. You don't
Yeah.
want to show your DNA. Um, we paid thousands of dollars. We purchased this DNA lock of hair. The other day, it came back inconclusive. The scientist said, "Are you sure that's even fucking hair?" Thousands of dollars later. And with that said, how hard is it to switch one vial from one to another?
Yeah. Yeah. It's my
It's really
assumption.
simple. These people are covering.
Yeah.
These people are covering up first degree pre-planned murder and identity theft. That's who I'm exposing. It's not that hard if these people have been getting away with that for all these years to
Yeah.
move one vial from one to another. But the scientist also said he's not giving up. He's going to send it in for more tests. When I sent the hair samples to the scientist, he said, I actually sent my book with him. So when we got an inconclusive report just the other day, after all those weeks of waiting, he said, I'm not giving up. I'm going to send it for more tests because I believe you. I read your book. I've seen pictures of you and a child and the fake imposter. But he believes in my story because how could it not be believable? You could put the pieces together really easy if you do a little research. So it's not that I don't want to show my DNA. And with that said, I'm the fucking victim here. Me. I'm exposing these people for stealing me, the government hiding me out, torturing me, putting me in things like dog cages and every other thing, locking me in bathrooms, beating me so I wouldn't share my story that I'm the real John Kennedy Jr. Our government, our FBI, our Secret Service, our CIA could prove I am who I am in a push of a fucking button. Why aren't you saying, why don't you make them, our FBI, prove you are not John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr.? Because I know who I am. They know who I am. It's you people that don't know, but it's you people that are accusing me of being a fucking liar. And it's really heartbreaking on how people act these days. Um, with that said, God, what a day.
Well, you know what? That is a really good point. Viewer, why don't you question the CIA, the FBI, the Secret Service, and all the other three-letter agencies? We see what's going on out there. Why don't you question them? Now, yeah, we've seen these age progression videos and they've taken, someone has so beautifully taken your childhood pictures and shown how you morphed into you. We put yours and your father's pictures side by side. A beautiful match. The stories, like, who would make all of that up? You couldn't make all of that up, even if you tried.
Actually, Robin did one of me as a child. I was 3 years old, sitting there looking just like this. And she took that child's picture, and when she put it through the age progression app, my face right here, exactly identical, came up, and I went, "What the fuck? That's me!" But it's not me. It's just a made image of me. Um, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah,
But it's crazy what they can do from a picture
yeah,
with these
yeah,
apps nowadays.
yeah.
It really is. But there's so much other evidence. My handwriting as a child changed when I was kidnapped and replaced. His signatures were nothing like my signatures. Ears don't lie. I got a big fat earlobe. All the childhood photos of me have this big fat earlobe. He had no earlobe. I was left handed. In all the videos, I was left handed. My hair, this hair color right here, that is not jet black hair. I mean, these people can make up stories all they want. Well, my son had his hair; it was blondish brown, reddish when he was a child. It turned jet. Oh, bullshit! I hear so many of these people making up these stories, but we have so many enemies, so many people that are making profiting off of me and my loved ones that I'm exposing. It's
Right,
huge. It
right,
really is.
right. Well, you can't play to the haters and the lower common denominators. You have to talk about things that the supporters understand, and believe.
Yeah.
Most of the people that watch these are now believers. So that
And I
is
do
very
apologize.
exciting.
I do apologize for my bad foul potty mouth, but I
Yeah.
get wound up, my blood pressure gets up, and I
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, it's all good.
Excuse me.
Bless you, bless you. It's all
Thank you.
good. You've been through so much trauma. A lot of people are like, well, they expect you to, I don't know, show up in a suit or something. And like this is someone that's been traumatized throughout his entire life in every way you can think of.
Oh man, the comments I get. You're sitting in a motorhome. You can't be John Kennedy. John Kennedy Jr. wouldn't be sitting in a freaking motorhome. I tell you what, to those commenters, I've lived on the side of the road. I've lived in a vehicle. I've slept in a truck for many, many years, and I am who I am. You better be asking them why they put me in the position to be living in an RV and never own my own damn home.
Yeah.
When my family members had mansions and mini mansions at that on coast to coast, why am I living in an RV? You better start asking the right people for the right questions instead of assuming I'm poor. I was kept poor on purpose, so I would not share this. You should be lucky that you're hearing the story I'm sharing.
Yeah.
And with that said, you should go buy my book and read it and learn a little bit before you run your comments.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really grateful for the book. I think the book really like, because I had watched your videos before I got the book. And I believe then, but when I read the book, oh my God, then the stories really, to me, anchored in who you were. And of course, the pictures of you as a child, you do look like that young man. So, yeah. All right.
And
I
I
feel,
have the memories to go with all those pictures too.
yeah, yeah. And you've told us the stories. There's a lot more stories to come, I'm sure. So, very excited to hear them.
I really hope some of the bad ones don't come along with it, like my sons. Um, I'm sure that'll be in my next book if I have a next book.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't need any more like that. I really, really don't. We need a lot of victory and overcome these evil ones in my next chapter.
exactly. Exactly. So you're going to be on another interview this afternoon. Is it going to be recorded live or how will that appear?
Yeah, I'm going. Actually, I was invited yesterday to the Michelle Moore show. I'm kind of short notice to share to the Lions and the followers and to everyone, but I did accept it because I need to get my story out.
Yeah.
So yeah, please join us. It's on all the platforms, but on YouTube, it's a Michelle Moore show, and it'll be on 3 o'clock Central Time. That's 1 o'clock Arizona time, my time. And thank you for sharing that, Sue. I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, we want to get the story out there so different viewers, different readers, that's very important, because I think that you've got a good solid following on this live video now. I'm watching it and I've recognized their names, but it's always good to get more people. That's what it's all about is getting that
Yeah.
following. Yeah.
I did a show with Dr. Kia Pruitt the other day. A
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful show. I noticed on there I kept saying Um, I didn't realize I was saying it. Somebody even made a comment. You can't be John Kennedy Jr. There's too many ums in there. Um, well,
Um,
I, the, the day and a half before, I hadn't got any sleep. I just found my son's dead body. I, I was
yeah,
full of emotions in my head doing this. I had to do it because it meant getting the story out to more people.
right.
But the things you do when you don't realize what you're doing,
Yeah,
me saying all the time had I'm not a public speaker. I wasn't
yeah.
went to school for radio shows or anything like that. I'm just John Kennedy Jr. trying to share my story. But I didn't even notice I was doing it until a hater brought it up. But What can
You
I
have to,
say?
you have to go with it. Like, okay, for me, I'm always like, what do I sound like and look like? This is it. It's not gonna get any better, okay? So this is it. But what I want people to do, instead of pick on us personally, is to listen to the content. Is there content there? Is there information? Is there something to provoke deeper thought? You know, something that
And
we haven't thought about before.
with that said, Dr. Kia Pruitt, she showed lots of my pictures, showed lots of examples, talked about some new things. So if you guys get a chance, go check out her video. Check out mine and Sue's videos, our past videos. You might learn something. And we do this every Tuesday at 9 a.m. unless we're hindered and blocked and messed with. But I appreciate you, Sue, so very much. I really do.
Appreciate you
You're
too.
awesome.
And I am sorry for your recent loss, and it's very courageous of you to come out with your story, period. But especially when you're not feeling 100%, it's even harder to do. So I appreciate that. And I thank you for getting this information out to us. And for those that are watching, please share.